Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a video for classwork day 6 for the final, and this is day 107. And day 6 has some analyzing in it, it has some equations, it has some stat stuff, so a little bit of everything. All of this is found on my website, don't forget. All right, here we go. Number 1. Match the graph below with the best description the relationship it shows. So this should actually look familiar. We actually did this one in class together. So, all right, you have time and distance from home. Distance from home. Okay, so let's see. So keep in mind that because this line is starting all the way up here, he's not home. Okay, because if, sorry, I just got my pencil working. Right down here, this would be home. Okay. So because the line is up here, that means he's not home. So he's starting not home. Okay, and then he goes back to home. He spends some time at home. He starts leaving home, and then he stays wherever he is. So let's read and see which one. Trey goes from home. No good, because again, he's starting not from home. Okay, Trey goes from home. Nope, no good. Trey goes from a friend's house. All right, towards home. That could work. Stops at a store on the way home. Well, that's not good because he went directly home. So it has to be D. Trey goes from a friend's house to home, gets a coat. So that means he stayed at home for a little while, goes to a store, and then goes inside. Yes, so that is D. So basically, pick best descriptive answer. Okay, that's going to kind of be your steps or your notes, okay? Pick the best descriptive one possible. All right, moving on. Number 2, Max's weekly earnings are described in the equation y equals 4x plus 75, where x is the number of hours he works. If Max earns $195, okay, now this is money, so that's not x. It's going to be a different color. So money, one work, how many hours did he work? All right, so obviously if you have equation, you know you're going to plug in. So we're going to write the equation for x plus 75, and let's plug in the information that we are given. So this is what we want to solve for. We want to solve for the number of hours. So the only other place we could plug this number in is to y. So we're going to plug in 195 for y, and then we're going to solve this equation, and it's going to allow us to solve for the number of hours. So we're going to move over the constant. So the opposite of positive is negative. 195 minus 75 is 120. And then divide by 4, and x equals 30. So we get 30 hours. Okay, so your steps, substitute the money into y and solve for x. Okay, that's basically it. All right, moving on. What relationship, remember relationship also means correlation, okay, or association, can be made in terms of height and weight. All right, so basically we want to look at how the dots are going. And actually what's really nice is we have this line here too, which our line of best fit, which kind of already shows us that's going to be a positive correlation. Okay, so positive correlation, I guess I'll write relationship because that's what the word says. And then remember, I always wanted you to write the sentence. So you have to understand what this means, positive, because this is actually what is going to be on the multiple choice questions. So as the height increases, the x value, so does the weight, okay? So as the height increases, the weight also increases. So as the height increases, the weight also increases. So for your steps, basically just describe the correlation. And correlation, again, same exact thing as relationship or association. They all mean the same exact thing. All right, already on to the next page. All right, so this is the only tough one. I sometimes skip this question, but you guys did such an awesome job this year learning how to do equations. I'm going to do it. The table below shows how much Mary pays to rent DVDs. Create an expression that can be used to, okay, so first of all it says expressions, that means no equal sign, that can be used to find the total cost of renting any number n of DVDs. So this is really n. All right, so you guys know for equations, y equals mx plus b, because we have to start with an equation first, we always use our first 2 points. Okay, so we have 3 comma 6, and we have 6 comma 9. We have x1, y1, x2, y2. So m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, then we have, I'm running out of room. I'll write it here. I'm running out of room. So 9 minus 6, and then 6 minus 3. And then we have 9 minus 6 is 3. 6 minus 3 is also 3. And then that means we're going to have a slope of 1. Okay, so now the y-intercept, we write the y equals mx plus b again. We have 3, 6 as our points, and our slope of 1 from right over here. So our y is 6, our slope is 1, our x is 3, so 6 equals 3, and b equals 3. Okay, so now we have all the information we need. Our slope is 1, our y-intercept of 3. So y equals 1x, or just x plus 3, depending on how you write it, okay? So you're almost done. What's tricky about this one, instead of using an x, excuse me, they want us to use an n. Okay, so it's going to be 1n plus 3. And they don't want us to write the y equals. It's just going to be an expression. So the expression is simply n plus 3. And you can kind of see this over here already. If the number is n, well, 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. So I happen to actually give you an easier one to figure this out. So find the slope and the y-intercept to create. Actually, I'm not going to write to create the equation because you're not technically writing it. So we're going to write that. And then we're going to use n, not x, in the expression. And then I'm just going to also write, very, very, very important, no equal sign. That's the most important thing. Just, it's a good thing to practice. You know the difference between expression and an equation. All right, we're already on to number 5, moving quick. So using the trend line. Remember, trend line was the same exact thing as your line of best fit. We haven't done this in a while, but that's the line that goes through the middle of the dots. All right, what would someone's height be at 22 years old? So what is their y when their x is 22? So here is 22, and basically you just want to go up until you get to where the line is, and then you want to go over, and it's going to be approximately, I'm just going to go, I guess, 79, right? It looks between 78 and 80, should be 79 inches. All right, so that was an easy one. So you want to follow the x value up to the trend line, right? That was this right here, follow up to the trend line, and go over to the left. Go over to the left until you get the corresponding y value. Okay, so the y value that matches up when your x is 22. Okay, number 6. Which graph shows the correct line of best fit? So is the line supposed to go under the dots or supposed to go in the middle? Well, hopefully you remember that it's supposed to go in the middle. So the line of best fit must go through the middle of the points as much as possible. Okay, as much as possible. And again, it could go through 1, it can go through none, it could go through all of them. All right, so next page. Almost done. Wow, we only got 2 more. Okay, number 7. So we have our two-way tables. What is the relative frequency? So that means that you're going to be making a fraction expressed as a percent. So we're going to turn it into a percent of people who have a cat and a dog to the total amount. Okay, so I had always told you to look for the word 2. And the word 2 is going to help you figure out what your denominator is. So this is the denominator, and this is, oh, it says it right there actually. This is who is being surveyed. Okay, and then what you want to know about them is this up here. Okay, people who have a cat and a dog. Okay. All right, so let's see nearest whole percent. So what is the relative frequency expressed as a percent? So let's make our fraction first. Of people who have a cat and a dog to total amount of people surveyed. So let's do our denominator first. So how many people in total were surveyed? Where here is the total amount of people that were surveyed? If you remember, it's down here at the bottom right. All right, people who have a cat and a dog. Cat and a dog would be this number over here. I know I have a dog, so I had no cat. So I would be dog and no cat. That's where I would be, but all right, dog and cat is 105. So now we're going to use our calculator and we're going to change it. So 105 divided by 300, and that's going to give me 0.35. And then very easy to change it to a percent, once, twice to the right, and you get 35%. I think your calculators actually do it. Second, and then the left parentheses right there, I think it should turn it into a percent. No, okay, so it goes the other way for us. It goes from the percent to the decimal. So, all right, no good. All right, so just multiply, just move it once, twice to the right, and you'll get 35%, which is your final answer. So steps: create a fraction, and then a percent, right, because it does say percent, then a percent with, so in your numerator, you want those that have both, okay, and then in the denominator is going to be total for the table. Total for the table. So this here is your total for the table. Okay, it's always going to be the bottom. And this one right over here is your both. So you're taking this number and putting it over this number, dividing it in the calculator, and getting a percent. Okay, sorry it's so sloppy. My answer key's online. All right, last one. Number 8, a phone company charges a one-time setup fee. Oh, remember that word? That was part of our functions unit. And a monthly service charge. The total cost is modeled by the function y equals 20 plus 10x. Notice they wrote it a different way. They didn't write 10x plus 20 the way that we are used to writing it. They're trying to make it more difficult for us, which represents the meaning of each part of the function. So I'm actually going to start with the steps first. I think it's going to be a little bit better. So I want you to remember that that fee represented the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the fee. Okay, so that's going to be, remember the y-intercept is also known as your b, okay? And the slope, don't forget, which is the m, is the monthly charge. And then the number in the front, or the letter in the front, excuse me, y, is the total cost. And then x is going to be, see how it says monthly service charge? So that's the charge per month. That means x is the number of months. Okay, so let's go over this again. So y is the total cost, x is the number of months. So y is the total cost, x is the number of months. Then your y-intercept, which is going to be your constant, okay, that's this number right here. Your constant is going to be your fee. Okay, so our fee is going to be our constant of 20. And then your slope, your m, is the monthly charge. So this number, monthly charge, is going to be your coefficient, okay, the number with the x. So y is the total cost. So which one says y is total cost? Total cost. All right, so this and this is out because we want the y's total cost. X is the number of months. X is the number of months. X is the number of, okay, so we're good there. So y is done, x is done. 10 is the fee and 20 is the charge, or 20 is the fee and 10 is charge. Okay, so remember, the fee is your y-intercept, which is the constant. Which one is the constant? 20 is the constant, so 20 has to be the fee. So number 2 is the winner. Okay. All right, so that is it for day 6. Those are all the new ones I have to teach you. So go ahead and stop the video at this point. You do the next couple, come back and check it, and let's see how you did. All right, everybody, so let's see how you do on the now you try. So which of the following situations corresponds to this graph? So you have to really pay attention and focus on that it is speed and time and not distance. It is speed. So this means you are stopped, kind of like at 0. This means you're starting to get faster. This means you're staying at a constant speed. Your speed is decreasing and staying constant again. So let's see. A car accelerates from a stop, right? That makes sense because this will be your stop. Travels at a constant speed So this is your acceleration. This is your constant, slows. Yeah, so that should be A. So if you chose A, you got it right. Constant speed, and then that would just be 2 of them, and that's no good. One's walking around the track. Yes, so it's definitely A. Accelerates, constant, slows down, and then slows at a slower pace, or drives at a slower pace. All right, next page. Max's weekly earnings are described by the equation, X is number of the hours. So again, we are solving for a number of hours. And this is how much he makes in 1 week. Remember, if you ever get stuck on the Now You Tries, you just go back to where that specific question is in the notes. You read the notes, look at the equation, or look at the work, and it should help you. All right, so we know that we have to write the equation, and then we're going to plug in the information we know. So we're going to plug in 4570 equals 6x plus 300, subtract 270 equals 6x, divide by 6. And let's see, 270 divided by 6 is 45. So x equals 45, so it's going to be 45 hours. All right, what relationship? Again, you're just looking at how the dots are made in terms of foot length and shoe size. So we know it's a positive relationship. Positive relationship. And again, I want that sentence because the sentence is actually what you're going to be picking out in the multiple choice answers on the quiz. So as the foot length increases, the shoe size increases. Okay, as this increases, as X increases, Y increases. All right, number 12. So let's see how you did on this one. The most important thing is that you did the expression and not the equation. So y equals mx plus b, m equals b equals. If you notice, I tried to make it a little bit easier for you. I already gave you that y-intercept, so you didn't have to show any of that work. So we'll just do our slope work. So 0, 3, and 2, 8, x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So we have 8 minus 3 and 2 minus 0. And that gives us 5 over 2. And we know anytime that you cannot divide, you just leave it. Okay, you leave it. You don't turn it into a decimal. You simplify it if you can, but that is it. Okay, so at this point, you would have done, if we were doing a normal graphing unit, y equals 5 has x plus 3. But this one's a little bit trickier. It wants an expression, and it wants you to use n instead of x. So you should have made the n in place of the x and took away the y equals, and that's actually the toughest one of this whole entire page. All right, so using the trend line, you should have used this line, and we want to know for 8 hours. So 8 hours is right here. By the way, both of these questions that we did with the trend line, these are interpolating because you're using information that's inside the plotted values. So over, it looks like between 6 and 8, so it should be 7 points. So if you got 7, you got it right. All right, hopefully you guys are doing okay with day 6. All right, number 14. Which one's the correct line of best fit? You should definitely always pick the one where the line is in the middle of the dot. So if you picked 14, you got it correct. 15, relative frequency. Percent of people have a cat and a dog to total amount of people surveyed. So this, you're 2. Okay, that's going to be your denominator. So hopefully you chose this number right here as your denominator. And then people have a cat and a dog, so that's your both. Cat and a dog is right there, and that's going to be your numerator. So 65 over 153, it does say nearest whole percent. I think the other one actually came out really nice, but 65 divided by 153. Okay, so we're gonna nearest whole percent. So 0.42. Yeah, you could probably leave it like that because the 4 does not round up the 2. So because we know when we move this over once, twice, okay, that 4 is not going to round up that 2. So you can leave it like this. We'll do approximately, and then it'll be even better. So 42%. You got 42%. You got it right. Actually, what might be even a little bit easier is if you actually take this and right away, instead of just moving it twice, times it by 100, and that actually makes the percent for you. So it might be a little bit easier when it's not that perfect hundredth space. So now you could really see that the 4 does not round up to 2, so that's 42%. So that might be a little bit easier. All right, last but not least, a phone company charged a one-time setup fee. So this is the same exact thing as before. Okay, everybody? So look for that fee. The fee is always going to be the y-intercept. Okay, that's going to be the number that does not have a variable, so a constant. And then your monthly service charge is going to be your slope. Okay, so this is going to be the slope, which is M, and the y-intercept, which is B. And remember, the y is always the total cost. So anything that says X with the total cost, that's gone. So these are good, these are good. Okay, now which one was the fee, the 30 or the 50? So the one that only happens one time is going to be 50. So 50 is the installation fee, and we got that right here. 30 is the service. There we go. So the fee is always the constant. All right, so that is day 6. Hopefully you did okay with that. If you have any questions, please make sure you reach out to me. Make sure you're doing your homework tonight. Your homework, don't forget, will be half day 6, and then it also reviews the day before, which is day 5. Please make sure you post it on Google Classroom. And our last day of the part 1s is going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow, day 7, is our last day. All right, have a great day. Bye.